With the release of 2022.6, we finally have access to Feather in a stable build, GameMaker's new IntelliSense in progress. You can turn it on in preferences, though it is currently off by default. Now, when you do this, the first thing you'll likely notice is your syntax error window gets replaced with a Feather messages window. This, in a large project, is probably going to contain a whole bunch of things flagged up as mistakes, warnings, and suggestions by Feather. You also get the spell checker style wiggly lines under lines of code where Feather has detected a potential issue. You can hover over these and change rule definitions on the fly. Now that's because these definitions can be somewhat context sensitive and sometimes subjective. Feather also allows you to mouse over a ton of things in the code editor and get useful information about them. Assets, functions, arguments, data types, struct contents, and more. Finally making the JSDoc definitions you can write for your functions actually useful. This mouse over stuff is honestly my favorite feature. If I could just have this about Feather, I totally would. There's also a tool you can enable that will automatically refactor references to a resource when you change its name. You can also set up naming conventions for your particular coding style so that Feather can prompt you if you start to name things inconsistently. Pretty useful. Now, this is all quite cool, but is it ready to replace the current IntelliSense and syntax error system? Not really. Now, Feather is off by default, and Russell said at the latest GameMaker meetup that the team don't feel fully confident with Feather just yet, and it's going to take some time, and I can see why that would be. Not only is it very hard to try and get these error suggestions and definitions to a balanced place for most users, and to fix all of the different bugs that have been cropping up with it across the near infinite ways there are to write code, but it also just changes how it feels to write code and feels like an often overwhelming, very experts-only tool at the moment. Russell said they're not going to replace the default IntelliSense until they are confident in it, and they're welcoming feedback, so it's good to see they're taking a careful approach with it. I worry at the moment that in its current form it could be something that's great for veterans but potentially quite off-putting for beginners. But hey, it's here, give it a try if it sounds interesting, but there might, from what I hear, still be some bugs here or there. 2022.6 also brought a couple of other little things, some new filter effects, they're very pretty, extension options, mostly useful for extension creators, but also people using things like Steamworks will find the process a bit simpler and more centralized, which is nice. And that's more or less it highlight-wise for 2022.6, but in the beta, they've gone ahead and revealed rollback multiplayer functions and a tutorial showing you how to set up a multiplayer game in about 15 minutes. Sorry, what? So the biggest caveat out the way is that this currently only works for creating HTML5 games for GX games played through the Opera GX browser. That's kind of a bummer, but other platforms are on the way, and honestly, even if you could only do this on a toaster, it would still be a pretty big deal. Now, I've only glanced briefly at the tutorial video, but it does look remarkably simple and I'm eager to give it a go. I have so many questions about the future of this feature. Obviously, the server-side stuff is done through GX Games at the moment, or at least I presume so, but what does that mean for bringing this to other platforms? How will setting up a server work? Will there be some dedicated GameMaker server that we rely on, that we have no control over? Will we be able to deploy servers ourselves? How does any of that work? And while I don't know, the idea of being able to quickly create and share something multiplayer from GameMaker is extremely exciting, so I'm going to try it out. This Friday, I'm going to do a live stream of me making a simple multiplayer game using this beta. I don't know any of the functions, I haven't read the documentation, I've only glanced at bits of the video, but we're going to do all of that live and see just how easy it really is to get something going and to share it. So that'll be here on YouTube and on my Twitch channel on Friday the 8th. Most of the day, I'm not committing to specific times, we'll play it by ear. So come check that out if you're as intrigued as I am about this new tech, or just, I don't know, want to help me test the game. It'll be hopefully multiplayer after all, right? Thanks everyone for watching, thank you to my patrons for everything they do to support my work, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. Cheers guys, I'll catch you all next time.